More teams have expressed interest in the Golden Knights RFA. Nic Hague, according to reports, will tell you more and where he could land after this on Lockdown Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. I am Tony Cardasco, longtime sportscaster, marketing consultant, host of the new Believe in Vegas podcast with our special guest, Ryan Sangalia from Boxing Scene this week. He is Chris Golick, owner of Silver State Cards and Sports and the collectibles editor for the Hockey News. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel coming up ahead on today's show. In addition to the Hague story, we'll also be talking about Olympic rosters as they begin to start taking shape as soon as this weekend. And we've got some projections for Stanley Cup Final game number 4. So the fourth period's David Pagnotta reporting that there are now some teams here that are new teams that are interested in Nic Hague, the Golden Knights RFA. In addition to the Flyers, we'll talk about the Flyers in a moment, which we've talked about a lot this past week. Montreal, Pittsburgh, and Detroit have entered the chat, Chris. And could a Hague trade be part of a 3-team trade that lands Marner or another big UFA here, another top 6 player to Las Vegas?
It could be anything. I mean, that's the thing right now. That's why it's a rumor season, as your handle says right now. It could be a 3-team trade, could be a 2-team trade. It could be a trade that's going to happen completely independent of the Marner situation. I think the big question is if Hague is dealt sometime between now and or around the draft, which is kind of what's being said right now. What's the return? If you see a vet come back, if you see an NHL ready younger player come back, that might give you some indication if Mitch Marner is likely to happen or not. If it's a younger, if it's a younger prospect with upside, or if it's a package of draft picks or a higher draft pick, that might tell you they're gearing up for, Marner as part of a sign and trade. Toronto might want a prospect, or it could simply be another prospect for another trade. So you look at the Logan Thompson trade. Golden Knights shipped Logan Thompson to the Caps. They got back a draft pick. They've swapped that with the New Jersey Devils as part of the Schmid-Holtz deal. So it could be a 3-team deal, but not necessarily a 3-team deal, to make a very long answer to your question.
So meanwhile, Kevin Kurtz of The Athletic reporting on Wednesday that a team source told him that the Flyers were not interested in the 6'6" defenseman after all of that hullabaloo earlier in the week where we hear how Nic Hague would fit in with the Flyers.
They might not have been interested when they got Kelly McCrimmon's asking price. The asking price might have been too steep, and Danny Briere might have been like, okay, we're going to move on and see what else is out there. So doesn't necessarily indicate that Hague was not in discussions with Philly. I mean, McCrimmon is going to talk to 6 or 7 different GMs about Nic Hague, maybe even more, to see what the best return is. Maybe you kind of turn them on each other a little bit, up the ante a little bit.
Yeah, and then Nick Kypreos also named Pittsburgh and Montreal. In Pittsburgh, they're saying that Hague could be paired up with Erik Karlsson. I think he's a free agent if he stays, or Chris Letang. And Hague, the one thing we know about Hague is that he's a good complementary player, and he's a really good and solid left-handed stick that they could almost pair with anyone.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Hague is very universal. He's played on all 3 defensive pairing lines for second and third. You've seen him get some moments with Pietrangelo and Noah Hannafin. Can't remember any Golden Knights players. His longtime partner has been Zach Whitecloud. That pairing has had its issues over the last 2 seasons. That's not all on Hague. Whitecloud has had some up and down moments, and the main reason we're talking about Hague and not Whitecloud in a possible deal is because of the contract circumstance. RFA for Nic Hague for 1 more season, So the team will have control. Whoever lands him, likely there's a deal that'll be negotiated immediately thereafter if he's traded. The tougher thing is the UFA deal with Nic Hague, who's probably going to be in the 4 million, 4x4 type, and Golden Knights just don't have that type of money to go around right now.
Correct, absolutely, and that's been one of the major issues, I think, with Hague. They also have to sign other players, which we have not heard so much about.
No,
Minutes
quiet.
were down. Minutes were down for Hague this season. He was down to about 17 minutes. Is that just based on structure or other variables? Nothing to do with Hague, right? I would have to imagine.
You said down to about 17, and it broke up for a second. Well, I think
Yeah,
I missed the start of it.
17. Yes, we apologize. We're having some technical issues on the stream today, so we don't know what's up with the stream. But yes, that's what I said. 17 minutes.
17 minutes. Okay, that's the last part. I heard 17. I didn't know it was minutes or what that was. Yeah. I mean, part of that is Hanifin and Pietrangelo are the bell cows of the VGK defense. They're going to suck up a lot of minutes. And then, by the way, then you got Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb, who could handle the bell cow type roles with, 24 other franchises, but they play behind, of course, the pairing of Pietrangelo and Hanifin. That'll be another story. We'll see how that shakes out, of course, with Pietrangelo. A lot of rumors swirling about his health and circumstance right now. So, I mean, for Nic Hague's sake, and I'm assuming Nic Hague knows the circumstances, Hague needs to, I think, go somewhere else on his RFA deal, sign that RFA bridge, and then get his UFA deal for the season after that. And kind of similar to Logan Thompson, right? Kind of buried in the depth chart, so to speak. Very good player, Nic Hague is. Physical when he wants to be. Of course, he can fight when he needs to. Doesn't probably do it enough, but as a defenseman, you don't want a defenseman fighting too often. It's not really the proper spot for the protector. But there's a lot of teams. I mean, a team like Montreal, I know Philly allegedly is out, but these up and coming teams. Anaheim is another one. Teams building for the future. Chicago, maybe, but I think a little, more NHL type ready team getting ready to make a run like Montreal, who still has a stockpile of draft picks, a stockpile of AHL talent. I mean, I don't think people know how good the Habs are about to be in the next 2 or 3 seasons.
They're
And you
fun.
add a Nic Hague type, they can part ways with a Kirby Doc. They can part ways with an Alex Newhook. And imagine Lane Hudson and Nic Hague on the same defensive pairing.
Yeah, you said Newhook in there too. Yeah,
I
because
did
that
say
broke
Newhook.
up.
Yeah, I might have busted up. I said Newhook.
Yeah, and so VGK, their return on Hague, if it's a trade with one team, what would that look like?
It's a tough one. I mean,
You think it'll be a 3-team deal?
it can be
Potentially?
a 3-team deal. I think it depends on the totality of the circumstance. If it's a 3-team deal, then yeah, we're talking a Marner situation or something like that, and parking some salary somewhere for the Golden Knights' sake, depending on how that whole thing would work out. As far as a proper return, Golden Knights, it's widely reported a top 6 winger, of course, a superstar, Mitch Marner, is in that conversation. Hague for Marner is not going to happen. Relax, everybody. But a top 6 ready type forward. And that's why Kirby Doc, that's why Alex Newhook just came to mind for the Montreal Canadiens, a couple younger players. Would the Golden Knights have to add on top of Hague for one of those 2 players? Kirby Doc, I believe, is coming off an ACL, either last season or this current season. So that might drive Doc's value down a little bit. That's why you could see the Golden Knights get in there. I would love to see the Golden Knights find another winger that could be in that top 6 role that's in the mid-20s. That would be really good for the future of the team. And then all of a sudden, maybe someone like Alex Holtz, yes, I know it's a dirty word maybe, but someone like Alex Holtz starts to flourish. All of a sudden, the Golden Knights are getting younger while getting better.
If he goes to Detroit, pretty interesting. He could play around Moritz Seider. He could play around Simon Edvinsson. When you look
Another
at
team with
Hague,
great young players.
when you look at Hague, I mean, he's a solid addition to any lineup. He's really made himself that type of player where
He's
he can
top
always
4
just
on
fit
probably
in.
20 NHL rosters, Tony.
That's probably what's going to happen there, and he's definitely increased his own value. Coming up next, Olympic rosters are starting to take shape. We'll tell you how and when. As we return, we'll talk about it, what VGK players will be making the first look roster spots as we return on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. If you are looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with wonderful pistachios, one of the highest protein nuts, and each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein and it gives you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats, which help to keep you feeling fuller longer. Chris and I are in agreement on one thing. We both like the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, and we are a couple of busy buckos. And if you like cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, then the in shell option is a classic favorite. No shells, wonderful pistachios for that grab and go, the satisfying crack of opening up each shell. It's like snack mediation. Get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com, wonderfulpistachios.com. Get cracking, Vegas. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Don't forget, tomorrow, which is Friday, we've got our WTF edition of Locked On Golden Knights. So each country, I believe it's this weekend, Chris, each country should be announcing, I think the 15th is what I saw a long time ago.
I saw those stories too.
Oh, you found a story? Okay, good.
June 15th is a key date.
Okay, so that's coming up. Is that Sunday, Father's Day? Happy Father's Day, Mr. Golick. Okay, so
we're celebrating at Poker Palace, Tony. We're going for it. We're going to the Poker Palace on Saturday.
We're going deep. All right.
We're going deep.
Each country should be announcing their first six players to make the Milan Olympics. So it's a no-brainer for VGK. Jack Eichel will definitely be named by Sunday to Team USA among the VGK players. Anyone else? Early Olympians from VGK.
William Karlsson, Sweden, I think would be in the top 6 as far as their announcements go. You and I were talking on the side about any of the Canadians on the Golden Knights roster to be in that initial 6. Shea Theodore would come to mind, but I think he was the third defensive pairing, if I'm not mistaken, on the Four Nations. So I don't know if he wouldn't make that top 6, that initial push right there. So yeah, definitely Eichel, Karlsson, and then a lot of Golden Knights are still going to get that consideration right after maybe the first 6, the second 6, right? Like how the NHL expanded back in the 70s, I think the second 6, whatever that was. Second 6, that's where you look at your Mark Stone, your Shea Theodore, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Aiden Hill will get an early announcement. I'm sure Aiden Hill cemented a spot for the Olympics based on the fact that he got the nod for the Four Nations.
Okay, so not early, though. He's not a first 6 guy. December.
I don't think so. I think Bennington might be if they're going to run it back with him.
Okay, yeah. December will be the announcement, December the 2nd 6. The U.S. bracket Group C. Oh, yeah. Jonas Ronbjork has to be a first 6er, right? Has to be. U.S. bracket Group C. Slovenia and Latvia. Russia was in there, so they should get past that. Finland last one in the Olympic Games. Canada in Pool A. And that's got my fellas from Italy and Sweden and Switzerland. Collision course, I'm sure, between U.S. and Canada there in the Olympic Games, which should be a lot of fun. How much time, I wonder, are they going to have off there for an Olympic break?
Too long, man. I mean, I'm not a fan of any stoppage for non-NHL activity, but the Olympics I respect, right? The Olympics are not an exhibition tournament like the Four Nations were. So probably 2.5 to maybe even close to 3 weeks by the time the dust settles, and they'll let the players probably start returning that week prior that are not on the Olympic rosters so the teams can get back into game shape and everything. But I think a big question also is how aggressive is the NHL schedule going to be coming out of the Four Nations the Olympics? you wonder if the NHL learned something by. I mean, we were talking about that Oilers schedule coming out. Teams are playing back to back after the Four Nations. That was the most ridiculous thing that the NHL could have possibly done, besides all these days off during the Stanley Cup Final right now. So hopefully the NHL eases back into it. I know they want to get the money train back rolling. I know the teams want to get the money train rolling again. But at the end of the day, the Olympics are going to take a far greater toll just simply by the totality of players participating in the Olympic Games, number one. And number two, you don't want that push to the playoffs and Stanley Cup disrupted because of injuries from the Olympics, and it's going to happen. It's just what happens in hockey, unfortunately, and you hope it's as minimalized as possible. You hope the Golden Knights aren't involved with injuries and fatigue and everything, but the reality is it's possible. It's possible to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Mark Stone, not a first sixer.
No.
Okay.
Not when you still got people like McKinnon and Crosby and McDavid out there, and then many other and Cale Makar and so on and so forth. Mark Stone would again be right in that probably second six. I don't know if they're going to do it like that. If they're going to make some
it'll be the rest of it,
stages and stuff like that.
No, just two.
But
just two.
Yeah, no. Stone will be on the team should he want to be on the team. That's another player as far as health reasons and everything. You start to wonder how their career is going to shake out. Stone largely healthy year last year. I think it was 67 regular season games, something like that. So a good season for Mark Stone, and with some Four Nations wear and tear, and now we're talking some Olympics wear and tear. So,
do you come out if you're Team USA? Do you name a goaltender in your first six, like a Hellebuck? Definitely not Ottinger. They'll pull Ottinger for Hellebuck, probably.
That's the thing. I mean, Hellebuck, another season, can't. A lot of questions about his playoff performance and winning the big game, and now
just
he
wears out.
Didn't win the big game on the Olympics.
He wears down.
He wears down, but he didn't win the big game on the Olympic stage. Definitely didn't get the big game in the NHL stage. So I mean, you got Ottinger and Jeremy Swayman, I believe, was the third goaltender, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if there's better American goalies than those three, though. They're coming off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, it's those three, and then you've got no Alex Pietrangelo for Team Canada. He's not going to be better, but
I mean they're talking about his season and possible career in peril. So if he's at the Four Nations, then good for him. Miraculous turnaround.
In peril. Team USA, okay? Team USA, thinking about this last night. Tage Thompson had better be on this team.
Yeah.
Tage Thompson had better be on this team this time around. They really goofed up on that one. I don't care whose spot he takes, but they definitely need Thompson on there. And I would name him in the first six, too.
Tage Thompson, more importantly, needs to get out of Buffalo. Dude is so good. And, I mean, started with the St. Louis Blues one season and then gets dealt to Buffalo some way, somehow. And, I mean, Buffalo's got a 94-point player on their hands from the 22-23 season. And the dude is just such a tank. 26th overall, 2016 draft, 27 years old. October 30th birthday, Tony, in case you were wondering about Tage Thompson. So, Tage Thompson is just a beast in every regard. I remember one of the Sabres games when I was working a couple seasons ago. I went to the Sabres locker room afterwards, and you're just looking at Tage Thompson. And I'm 6'2", give or take what time of day you're measuring me. And I'm looking up at Tage Thompson like this walking by, like, hi, and just trying to imagine that human coming at you about 18 miles an hour just to blow you up. I mean, it's I'm thinking about jump back in the beer league, and then I look at someone like Tage Thompson. I'm like, oh my god.
We're going to see names. Matthew Tkachuk will be first six, correct, for USA.
I can't see why.
McAvoy, Jacob Slavin.
Both Tkachuk brothers put him in the first six, right? Both Tkachuk brothers.
I think just wow. Yeah,
I think what they did at the Four Nations, Tony. What they did.
You think both of them will be the first six? That's half of them already with Eichel. Eichel's definitely first six.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, there's three superstars right there, Tony.
That's going to be pretty interesting. So it's supposed to be announced this Sunday for the Milan Cortina games, February the 11th. I think it starts in 2026. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the Stanley Cup Final, game number 4. Right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting. Don't forget to make us your first listen every day. And please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are definitely sizzling, definitely around rumor season. I think, did I misspell rumor? The Canadian way, I think I screwed that up. RUMOUR, right, is the Canadian way, I think. Tomorrow, nonetheless, is WTF Day. We'll be talking about nighttime minus. Cardasco, read the room because I'm yapping away about it, and someone connected to VGK was there as I'm just ripping away at nighttime minus. But they do appreciate the creativity of the name. So
They like
Connor
nighttime
McDavid,
minus?
nighttime minus. Uh, Connor McDavid, after game number 3, said something to the effect like the best is yet to come. Just wait, and we're going to show you. Well, we're not going to wait much longer. If Edmonton is going to step up its game, it has to be in game number 4. And you go back to a year ago at this point, Edmonton was already down 3-0. Is this the game where everything starts to kick in?
I could be wrong. Isn't this the game where Edmonton won like 7-1 or 6-0 or something crazy like that, where they just went ham basically? I could be wrong. There was one game in the series though that happened where there was game 4 or game 5. I don't remember. I mean, listen, McDavid, the Oilers. It's 2-1. It's not like we're talking 3-1 or anything like that. But the cliches definitely start creeping out the farther behind in the series you get. Should the Oilers fall back 3-1, then of course we're going to take it one game at a time and blah blah blah. You know how that goes. We've been there with VGK. We've seen every team do that. So at the end of the day, the Oilers are looking to accomplish their initial goal when they left Alberta, and that was to come back to Alberta with the 2-2 splits. The odds in this, not a lot of change day over day. I feel like we've been talking about this game for a week right now. You still have minus 265 for the Panthers to win the cup. I think that's way too steep personally. And then for this game, it's minus 152 for the Panthers. I don't know what's going on with Nugent Hopkins. I know Knobloch had a little fun with the local media they said they were they said they were not practicing, and then they practiced anyway. I thought that was very interesting. I don't know what they were trying to hide. There's so many cameras and everything. They're gonna find their way in when they're down in Florida. So a little bit of gamesmanship, I guess, right there by the sophomore NHL coach.
Yeah, and on the other side, Florida had a skate, and they just were goofing off the entire time. So they were fake, like wrestling, and
but that's
just
something they'd be doing
other.
If they were down 3-0, Tony. Like that's just how that team is.
And hacking each other. So, yeah, they just have a really good time. And Edmonton is not having a good time with Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand, who each have scored goals in the first 3 games of the series for Florida. Bennett is it's another level for Sam Bennett.
Bennett's the Conn Smythe chalk at minus 120 right now. McDavid plus 270. And then Brad Marchand. Who would have thought a month ago? Brad Marchand is the 3rd betting favorite at plus 800. But honestly, he could be an overtime goal away, or one big game away from getting right there as far as a coin flip with Sam Bennett. And let's not forget about McDavid. He certainly has had an effect on most of the games of this series. And I think McDavid definitely will have a very strong impact on game number 4. And like I said, Oilers go to Clicheville if they lose this next game. And, sure, I guess they got the Panthers right where they want them, right? They won 3 in a row last year. No problem. Couldn't get that 4th one. So even if the Oilers fall behind, they still got a 3-game winning streak in them. But it would be incredibly difficult. And I think at that point, the Panthers, what they learned the previous season about how hard it is to close a team out, I think the Panthers, I don't think it would take 3 games for the Panthers to close out the Oilers should the Panthers win game number 4 tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be real interesting. And no matter what, I just see Edmonton perhaps, winning up there in Canada and the series going back to South Florida. A goalie change for Edmonton, perhaps, to Calvin Pickard. It appears as though they're leaning that way.
It's being talked about. I love your stat line about Skinner in games 4 through 7.
It's
So
crazy.
it's a tough decision for Knobloch. It really, really is. It's two okay goalies. Skinner, of course, is the experience. Pickard had a great moment in that LA series and even against the Golden Knights before his injury. So if you bring Pickard in now, you're giving, unless Pickard just completely blows it in game 4, you're giving Pickard the net for the rest of the series because you have to invest at least 1 or 2 periods in his game to get back to game speed. It's been almost 3 weeks now, I think, since he's seen any game activity last against the Golden Knights in round 2, maybe close to 4 weeks now. So you have to give Pickard time. And well, when you're down 2-1, possibly looking down the barrel 3-1, you don't necessarily have that time right now. So it's not an easy decision for Knobloch. I think it winds up being Skinner just based on his games 4 through 7 metrics. And then if for some reason it doesn't work with Skinner or whatever, then maybe you go to Pickard in for the Hail Mary in game number 5. But I think it's got to be Skinner for game 4.
Are we going to do our locks and predictions?
Yeah, fire away, Tony. What do you think is going to happen?
So scoring goals, I really like that Oilers second line, especially. I like Kasperi Kapanen a lot.
Gritty.
He's just so gritty. And I'm going to go with line 2, Tony line 2, paging Tony line 2, Kapanen, and I'm going to go with Kapanen and Draisaitl there. And I'm going to go with Edmonton and a late goal and a 5-4 victory. Remember, team that scores first has won all 3. Let's watch that. Do they have a prop to score a goal in the first 2 minutes? Because I would definitely take that plus 1,200 or whatever it might be, because that's all that's been happening in this series.
I'm sure there is, and I'll try to find it in a second. I'm sure there's an early goal.
In the first 2 minutes, they have a prop?
Yeah. There probably is. Yeah, honestly, there probably is. I'll look in a second.
I just made up the number 2, by the way. So.
Oilers, let's go 4-3. Let's go overtime again for fun. Let's go. Corey Perry gets the overtime goal. And Darnell Nurse is going to do something, Tony. Darnell Nurse is going to do something besides get his face pounded.
Oh, my goodness. Did he ever? He had a busted lip. Did you notice that as a result of that fray that he had? Do we see them slowing down? We cannot have 130 penalty minutes in game number 4. Well, we can, but I think Edmonton would be on the short end of the stick. Again, how do you stay composed? How do you stay composed in a series like this in a really key game coming up?
Well, and that's the job of the Panthers to make sure they're not composed. That's where they got, Sam Bennett just, I'm not saying go and run the goalie, but Sam Bennett might just go and run the goalie. You know what I mean? So we'll see exactly. I'm trying to find all the. Here we go. Series spread games.
You got some props out there?
There should be a prop somewhere. I can't find it. Maybe it's a local.
In 2 minutes, though. And they have a 2-minute goal prop.
There's early props, definitely. My favorite prop that I hit a while back, I put it out there, was a shot in the first. Each team to get a shot in the first 60 seconds. I think it was game 3 of the Oilers Golden Knights series. Each team to get a shot in the first 60. And they both did, and it was like plus 860 or something stupid like that.
Our good buddy Dave, from the Aviators, he always takes every single game this season. He's texting me that he bets the over on shots for Jack Eichel, and then he puts it in same. It was like 3.5 or whatever it was every game. So shout out.
He's a shoot more, Tony. He's a shoot more.
He definitely does. How many shots per game did Eichel average this past season? Because it wasn't enough. He's got to double it next season. Double it, I said, with this new philosophy.
I don't know. We'll see.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure that you enjoy game number 4 tonight. That's going to be a ton of fun. Line up, of course, all your comments for tomorrow's big show, which is WTF, What the Friday. And, of course, Nighttime Minus, I think, is at the very top of our list. And don't forget, please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. And thanks for making us your first listen, especially our everydayers. From our man, Chris Golick, thanks for tuning in. I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. and please take care.